Hi everyone, thanks for joining us, Dave here. Another episode of Legends of the Spire here for you, this week with the legendary Andy Morris. He spent over 10 years at Chesterfield from after he signed in 1988. A long association with the club, both as a player and then lastly as a coach too. And obviously is well known for his iconic moment of scoring the first goal in the FA Cup semi-final, of which his goal celebration is my joint favourite Chesterfield goal celebration of all time, alongside Tony Lorna's belly slide. So it was good to speak to him about that. He was also, as well as that FA Cup semi-final, he was also involved in a couple of Wembley games too, and Liverpool 4-4 and things like that. So it was good to speak to him about all the years at his club and various different managers that he played under. As always, we are at Spire Legends on Twitter and Legends of the Spire on Facebook, so do get involved. If you can like, subscribe, comment, review, whatever it is on the various channels that you listen or watch on, that'd be much appreciated. I've recorded a few more of these already, so we'll be going ahead over the summer with even more of players from different eras of the club. So I hope you enjoy them. But for now, here is the legendary Andy Morris. So you actually grew up in Sheffield, didn't you? So you're pretty local, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, I've always lived in Sheffield. I've never lived anywhere else. Even when I was at Rochdale and Rotherham, I've always lived here. So I'm a Sheffield lad by heart. Obviously, Chesterfield's my first love, but I'm a Sheffield boy by heart. Yeah.
And which side of the city were you?
United, unfortunately, Sheffield United. So it's a shame, really, because obviously Chris is a good friend of mine, and for him to get the sack like he did, I don't think was warranted, really. I think if there's anybody that could have got them back up, it would have been him. And I think if you get a side up and you do so well, I don't think it's right that you just pass it on to somebody else. I think you need to give that person who got you up a chance to either get you back up. And if he doesn't do that, maybe after 1 or 2 seasons, have a change then. But don't just discard him straight away like that, like he's done nothing for the club. I think it's a bit of a disgrace, really.
Yeah. And he did a podcast earlier in the year where he was talking about you and how you stopped him getting beaten up.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's God, yeah, because we used to play football against each other, so I know him quite well, and I think it was because he used to go to Silverdale School, and I went to Herfield, up Rough School at Top of Hill. So they were all trying to pick on him, so just stepped in. So.
Yeah. And where were you? So when you were playing football as a kid, where were you playing? Were you always?
I was playing for a team called Throssels at the time. I don't even know if they're still going, but at the time they were like I suppose the biggest team around here is like Handsworth. So they were like the Handsworth of their time. Throssels. It was a big team. They had some really big players playing for them at that time, especially the older age groups. And I was at Throssels. I'm not too sure where Chris was at, to be fair, but obviously he left and went down to I think did he go to Southampton? I can't quite remember where he went. But I was playing for a local team called Throssels at the time.
Were you scoring loads of goals then? Back then, were you up front?
Yeah, yes, I did all right. Like, when you're younger, you can score goals for fun. So I think I scored either 67 or 73 goals that year, or whatever it was. But that was just only because I was about a foot taller than everybody else. That was all, really. When that was any better, I was just a foot taller than everybody else, and they were all scared.
So I'm 6'5" myself, and like every school photo, I think I had my growth spurt when I was about 10. So and then everyone caught me up a little bit, but not by much. Was that the same for you? Were you always?
Yeah. Like say every age group, I was in the same size shoe as my age. So 11, 12. Then when it got to like 13, it just like plateaued there. And But yeah, it weren't easy, especially in '60s, because there was some horrible shoes around in them days, and you're a size 11, and you're trying to squeeze your foot into a size 10 and a half. It ain't great. So yeah, it wasn't fantastic them days. So,
Yeah, no,
but
well, that thing. And then it was Rotherham, wasn't it, where you kind of got your first club, I suppose, and your
yeah. Because after Frostles, I went to play because I knew I was already going to sign for Rotherham. So I suppose for fun, I went signed for Hillsborough Celtic, which was my a friend's team. So I did that for a year, and then I knew I was going to sign for Millmore Juniors. So I did that, and then after that went to it was the first year, as far as I remember, it was the first year the apprenticeship scheme came around. So before teams only had like 2 or 3 apprentices, and they got then mixed in with the reserve team, and then the YTS came in, and all of a sudden like Rotherham had like 15 apprentices that day. So obviously it must have been the same everywhere else, but that was the year 1984. Yeah, 84. So I was there 84 to 88.
I remember when I spoke to Jamie Hewitt, he was talking about how he had to write a letter to John Duncan to like ask for his YTS. Was it something similar? Did you have to write a letter, or did you get?
I think mine, because they're all like blue forms, and basically the form was like that. It was just a blue form. So why they're called blue forms, weirdly enough. And I think my dad had to send something in, and then what was it now? Came to the house to sign us, and that. So it wasn't like all these academies where you got these beautiful buildings and things like that, and hundreds of kids coming through. It was just you went through the system. You got to 15, and you were just an apprentice, and that was it.
And then you signed for Chesterfield, so it was 1988, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, October '88. Kevin Eli, who was at Rotherham with me, he must have brought me up and he says, "Oh, I'm coming to sign like Chesterfield," and I thought, well, ain't getting a look in here, and not getting a chance at all at Rotherham, and so I was like, yeah, and I was like, where's Chesterfield? Not a clue. What typical inner city kid? I ain't got a clue what's outside the border. And so I think obviously Kev Randall was manager then, and came over. I think, if my recollection, it's Chesterfield went on a 3 or 4 winning streak at the time, so there's nobody at the club when I was there, and Chesterfield's ground was similar to Rotherham's ground, but Rotherham's ground was better. Rotherham's ground was a lot neater and not nicer, had better paint. And Chesterfield's grounds have no paint, no nothing. It's like balsa wood everywhere. It was horrible. And so I'm sat in stand. It was a rainy day, and it was absolutely throwing it down with rain. And at centre circle, there was a massive puddle in the centre circle, and there's just like about 30 ducks on it, just paddling on the ducks. And I thought, what the hell have I done here? Signing here. I thought, God almighty. I was just looking around thinking, oh, no. But
second thoughts about a football
career. Yeah, flipping out. But hey, made the decision, done.
Was the and obviously there's the folklore that comes around you signing is that it was the £500 and a bag of balls.
Hey, don't let folklore get in the way of a true story. It was just an exchange of contracts. So as far as I know, it's just an exchange of contracts because obviously Rotherham didn't want me, and so there's no money getting exchanged hands or anything like that. So as far as I know, it's just an exchange of contracts. They just said, well, just take him basically, yeah. And so that's what it was. But the thing is, the only person you can ask is, I suppose they're all dead now, unfortunately. It's like Norton Lee, Kev Randall, who was the manager at the time, and I can remember Kev was saying it was just an exchange of contracts as far as I knew. So,
And
but never let a good story get in the way.
Well, I've heard about Norton Lee cutting the bars of soap in half and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we did that. Oh god, yeah, we did that. We did that at Rotherham. So it was no, it was not where there's Norton Lee. Obviously, you would have heard because Norton Lee was quite frugal, but end of the day, the club was run properly. It was he run a tight ship, but everybody always got paid. So yeah, he ran a tight ship, but it was still a nice club while he was there, and no, I won't hear a bad word said against him. Really, he was a nice guy. He was a nice person.
And Kev Randall was pivotal in a lot of people's careers, wasn't he? Really, everyone I've spoken to,
big time,
highly.
Yeah, it was. Kev was amazing. He was feisty at times. Sometimes little blame culture came out, but generally he was an absolute top man. Absolutely top man, and obviously I owe him a lot, bringing me to Chesterfield, especially when you got discarded at Rotherham, and then obviously what we went on to at Chesterfield over the 11 years I was there. So we had I could say we had a nice bit of success, really.
Yeah.
Outfield to Morris. Both players went for the same ball. Picked up by Morris, out to his right to Ely. Cutting inside. Push the ball out to Lee Rogers. Cross coming in. Go, it's Morris! Yes! A lovely goal!
And then your first full season with us was when Paul Hart came in, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you actually played virtually every game, didn't you? So you found your feet playing pretty much.
Yeah. It's I suppose found my feet, found your place in the team, found out what you were good at, what you weren't so good at, and I basically just turned into a bit of a battering ram up front, really. And for all these like nippy centre forwards and midfielders coming through, and just trying to cause a bit of chaos up front. I paid for it waking up the next day in agony, but at the time it was just, that was football at the time. Obviously, if I was playing now, I think I'd be sent off every game. But them days, it was different. It was dog eat dog, and there was no VAR, so I suppose defenders could get away with a lot more, and so could attackers.
Yeah, I mean, as like a big attacker, like that, do you get a bit of a rough deal from referees? Because obviously, like, players bounce off you, and we get it now with the bigger target man we have at Chesterfield, and you get some free kicks, and you just think, no way, that was a free kick. It's just
it's a joke. I've always said it's referees should be ex-players, because they just don't know the game, and it's not being what's the word I'm looking for, elitist when I'm saying that. It's just that sometimes when a collision happens, an ex-player will say, "Yeah, you went in on him there," and other times they say, "No, it was a fair challenge," and you caught him off balance there. You might look nothing, but you caught him at the right angle and caught him off balance. It might have made him looking at an absolute idiot, but I knew what he did.
Yeah, and
it's just little things like that. Being a foot taller and everybody being scaredy, and then you kind of like use that. So I suppose I was quite fortunate to come for the system I did, and then you just run with what you've got. But like I said, referees they pull you up for absolutely no reason whatsoever. People bouncing off you, and if you get tripped up and it makes me look like Bambi on ice, or that bit of free kick, you think, well, yeah, it was. But hey ho, what can you do?
And you got a hat trick, didn't you, against Cardiff in that
Yes.
The 89 season.
Yes, I did. Yeah, night game, evening game. Yeah, it was perfect hat trick as well. It was.
I was going to say I've not got any video of it, so I've not seen it. So you can embellish as much as you want to.
No, well, I don't need to. It was class. It was. It was. God, I forgot who was in the net because Mick Leonard was talking about it after the game because I think was the Welsh international goalkeeper or something like that was in the net. I think. I don't know if it was the actual Welsh international, but he had been at some point, and I think I scored 1 goal in the away end and 2 in the cup end, and it was. I think we won 4-0 that night or something. I think we won 4-0.
Yeah, something like that. And it was like 3 days after you'd been sent off, I think, versus Aldershot. So it was a eventful couple of days, wasn't it?
Me and Artie had his words that day, and because I got sent off and I'm walking off, and Artie's there going, "You'll never play for this club again." And everybody was a little bit boisterous them days, and I'd say some expletives, and he'd say some expletives, and then I'd say, "Watch the effing video then if you think I had butted him," and stuff like that. And he said, "If you didn't, you should have done," and stuff like that. And so basically, you couldn't win no matter what you said. So, and like you say, at the end of the day, I ended up scoring a hat trick a few days later. But I suppose nowadays you wouldn't be allowed to play, would you?
Well, no, it would have been, and yeah, I bet it was good motivation then to go score a hat trick.
Well, yeah. I think I can't remember if it took a week to go through. So if you get sent off now, you just don't play at all. And them days, I think you had 7 days before. So so sent off Saturday, play on Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right.
and I think it was that season as well that you scored, or it was either that season or the season after when you scored twice against Sheffield United as well, wasn't it?
Oh God, yeah. But 1 in each end, yeah. Wasn't that one 3-1 or 3-2?
Yeah, 3-1, I think. Yeah.
I'm
watching the video.
Bob Bloomer scored the other one. Yeah, it was. Because we were rock bottom at the league, and I think they were going for promotion, and we're the only team to do the double over them actually that year. I think we won 2-1 at our place.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, Dave Wallace scored both. I think, having pinched one of my goals off the line, but we won 2-1. Yeah, it was good. It was a good day, that one. It was obviously playing against my my team, so to speak, and but you just got to do a job, haven't you? You got to do what you got to do. And
I was watching the video as well, and you're getting some right boos.
Oh, me?
Yeah. You've done something at some point in the match. You were getting something there. Some right vitriol from the stands.
Oh yeah. I'd be the biased commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Crikey.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, but it was what it was. It's I put it this way, I got worse than that. So that was nothing. That stuff I got at Sheffield United.
But everything seems to be falling for Chesterfield this afternoon up to now. And now it's Waller, leaves it to Morris, and it's 2-0. Well, that was neat work by Chesterfield. And all that stemming from the free kick, from that foul by Bob Booker. But after 28 minutes, it doesn't detract from the score. It's Sheffield United 0, Chesterfield 2.
And then, obviously, there was the relegation then, wasn't there? And then there was kind of the chance to bounce back straight away that ultimately ended in a Wembley appearance, which is nice, but a Wembley defeat, which wasn't. So
the goal that never was.
Yeah. So what was? What was that experience like, Wembley?
It was amazing. I think we were a little bit awestruck, really, with regard. We didn't play great either, but neither did Cambridge. I didn't think they played that great, and it was just one thing that went wrong with regards to they got a corner which they shouldn't have got, and obviously Dion Dublin scored at the near stick, and it was the only goal. And I can't remember it really was or them having another chance. It was one of those shite games where everybody's turned up. It's like everybody's turned up to a wedding and there's no bride and there's no groom. It was just a terrible match, and unfortunately we were on the receiving end of losing at Wembley, which isn't a great place to lose. To be fair, it's a nice place to play, but it's not a great place to lose.
I suppose you can look back at the end of your career, especially at having won there as well, and
yeah,
kind of look back with maybe a bit more fondness than.
Oh, of course, yeah, 50-50 record there.
Yeah.
And that, and the game against Bury, went it, and 2-0. We had a really strong team that year. We had a team of winners in that team, and everybody showing up that. And it was just one of those teams where you just knew you weren't going to get beat.
Yeah.
And no matter who you played, you just knew you weren't going to get beat, and just had a really strong ethos, really, and strong back four, strong midfield, strong forward players, good subs, and we're always going to do well, really.
Yeah, we'll definitely come back to that. So then Paul Hart leaves, doesn't he? And Chris McMenemy comes in. What was the difference like in around the club when that change happened?
It's hard because it's like slagging somebody off behind the back, but it was Paul's first job, and as nice as it was off the pitch, I think losing like we were doing at that time, and I'm not too sure if he had much money to spend on players or he had to wheel and deal a little bit to get players in. It just we struggled as a team, and I think he struggled with regards to what's the word I'm looking for, because he was a really good player, Paul, when I think it was at Forest, and sometimes when good players see other players and they can't do what they could do as a player, it's kind of frustrating for them. And so with you going on the pitch, as in the role you, as in the whole team going on the pitch and not being able to perform like he would want them to, and then also being under pressure with it being his first job as a senior manager, I think he found it hard, and obviously things happen in the background which I'm sure he regrets, and obviously then Chris came in.
And he was quite young, wasn't he, as a coach? Yeah,
Chris was. To be fair, I ain't gonna lie. Chris's training sessions was great. We had it's very light-hearted. You knew what you were going to do every single day, and I can still tell you what we were going to do every single day right now. What we did, and it was spot on. It was we had training session on a Monday, and then Tuesday we did another training session. No, sorry, we had Monday was five-a-side up at Meadowhead in that gym area. So we'd have one goal and off, so we'd get a good sweat on there. On the Tuesday, we'd have a normal training session, and then we'd have the day off on Wednesday. Thursday, we'd meet up at Springwell School, do a training session, and then it was like old uns versus young ones. So you could see how old you were getting depending on what side of the pitch you were on. And then we did that first team to 20, and then we left that. And then Friday, shape, set piece and corners and stuff like that. And Saturday game, and then it back around to Monday again. And with the same thing. And I love training. I thought it was great. Everybody was sharp. Everybody was buzzing. But Chris wasn't as strong-willed as Harty in that, and then obviously Chris left, and then obviously Kev came back with John Duncan.
Yeah, and I mean we should mention that 4-4 at Liverpool.
Yeah. It was it was quite surreal, really, because obviously we all went out there and we played out of skins, and I don't think the centre halves at Liverpool, stroke the back four at Liverpool, were used to having mobile, strong, and with a bit of guile sent a front three, which we did have, because they had me up front, they had Dave Lancaster up front, and they had Steve Norris up front. So there's a strong three there. Dave Lancaster was as strong as an ox. Nozza speaks for himself, just a natural goal scorer, and I'll run and head anything. If it's around there, I'll be tacky with my head if I need to be. And we were just absolutely just battered them. And was it not Mark Wright? Was it centre half for England?
Yeah, it was Mark Wright, wasn't it?
All right, yeah.
I mean, they got the goals, didn't they? But you were dominant against him, weren't you?
I was mad at match. I tell everybody I was mad at match. I was. But yeah, they got the goals, and I took the battering for them, as I would say. But yeah, we had a decent game that day, and the funny thing, I think it was at half time. I think the story was Chris McMenemy, Rushbury, and I think it was Steve Hetsky at the time. They were like contemplating what to say. They were like, "What do we say?" But I don't know. What do we say to them? Because obviously we came in at 3-0, and who comes in at 3-0 at Anfield at half time? And they were a bit dumbstruck, and just like, just carry on. So,
keep doing it.
Yeah, just keep going, just carry on. So yeah, that was a kind of like a bit of a running joke.
Yeah. Were you exchanging any words with the Liverpool team while you're out there playing? Because obviously you paid a lot less than they are.
Oh God, a lot less. Jesus, we were paying buttons compared to what they were getting. I think. I can't remember many words getting said. We were just, I think not out of all us three, Nozza was the most vocal one. Small man syndrome and all that. So Nozza was more vocal than me and Dave. I suppose me and Dave just clattered people, really, and obviously they didn't like it, but that was Division 4 football at the time, you know what I mean? And it was what it was.
John Duncan then came back, yes. and Kev as well, and you'd got into double figures, hadn't you, in the last season under McMenemy, and you did the same under the first season in which Duncan came back. So you're obviously in a good goal scoring and playing form around that time. What was it like when John Duncan came? Obviously training will have changed a bit.
Duncan was methodical, structured. I suppose what all you could say was he brought structure into the team. He brought that steeliness into the team with regards to if we win their game, we don't need any more goals to win a match. We'll keep what we got, and obviously you get the rumblings from the crowd and stuff like that. That if we win their game, go on, attack, and then midfield are just staying there as a back eight basically, and then just saying break us down if you could. And it was hard for some people to break us down. And we met people on holiday. We used to all players used to go away at the same time, so you'd always meet a team or some players from other teams that were abroad, and used to say, "Oh, we ain't played against you a lot because knew if we went a goal down, that was it." And so if they're thinking that while we're playing them, unbeknownst to us, it was I suppose it was a bit of a one-upmanship with us regarding how strong we were and stuff like that. But yeah, it was more structure. I could say we did pattern nearly every day. I could still tell you exactly, if I closed my eyes, I could still tell you where every single player was on the pitch and things like that, because you just knew, because we did it that much. Wherever you were on the pitch, you knew that who was over there, who was there, it was just behind you and stuff like that, and how they were. It was it won us a lot of games. It won us a lot of games, like knowing how people shoot and knowing how people hook balls. Like when we won at Preston away, we won 1-0, and I think Tom Curtis had a shot on the edge of the box, and I thought he normally hooks his shots, so I followed it in, and he hooked it. I followed it in, slid into the back stick, scored, won 1-0 at Preston away, just because I knew what Tom did for shoot, how he shot, and so it's just little things like that. You just knew what players were going to do all the time because you'd gone over it and over it and over it and over. I suppose it was like American football, really. Everybody knew certain plays, certain things, certain triggers, which I suppose is what they're doing now. But them days it wasn't heard of, really, with regards to triggers and things like that. If this happens, that trigger is reaction to this, and this, and this, and this. So it was like that, really. But even though the crowd hated it, while you were winning games, we didn't mind it as much.
Yeah, and we've had Steve Norris on, and he obviously didn't enjoy it as much under John Duncan. But did you quite enjoy it? Obviously, if you're winning, I suppose.
I knew my role. I knew what I was. I knew I wasn't a prolific goal scorer. I knew I was in more of an assist centre forward, and I knew that 90% of the time, if they had a corner, I was going back for a corner because I had free rein to not mark anybody, just attack the ball and head it out, which I would say 60% of the time I did. So I wasn't a quick player either. So there's no way if we got the ball, I was going to go that way to for a counter attack. So in a way, that I suppose if you're living on stats, that would probably affect the way my goal scoring. I could have been more selfish with regards to being front there, but I'm on them. If I lay it off to somebody and we score and we win, that's all I'm bothered about. So.
Themselves just 2 points clear from the bottom of the third division. They may have slaughtered Rochdale on Saturday, but like lambs to the slaughter, they went down 3-0 to Chesterfield. And it was Chesterfield's Kevin Davies who struck first, clinical finishing from a 16-year-old who's caught the eye of some of the Premier League clubs. Chesterfield showed why they're pushing for the playoffs as Andy Morris slotted in number 2. And it was Morris who claimed his second and the visitors' third with a nifty lob in the dying minutes.
When I first signed there, we used to I think I've trained on every single park in Chesterfield. We used to sneak on there in the morning and then train as long as we could before we got kicked off. And then we would go to the next one and then we'd do the exact same. So we'd get in there and Kev said, where we're going, and then we'd all get in his cars and then drive up to training. And then obviously you'd hope it wasn't raining because obviously everybody comes stinking back in your car. And we mudded up to eyeballs and stuff like that. And we trained on every single pitch, every single school pitch, because them days you could just get on a pitch. Now it's like it's all fenced off.
Yeah, no, lots of players have talked about various members of the management team going and clearing a park of dog muck.
Oh, all the time, yeah. We call it ship patrol. So we just go in cones and just picking them up. Yeah, it was it weren't best. It weren't the best.
Well, that and Gospel Squad can be my two favourite.
Gospel Squad. The amount of times we swore at Kev on a Sunday morning, saying why we're in. This is all it's got to be, and so we'd run for an hour, just for an hour, and it would bang on an hour, and then just say goodbye. And I'm thinking, where's your recovery? Why can't we do this straight after the game, so we can have a day off like everybody else? It just spoiled your weekend. It was just horrible. Yeah, Gospel Squad, Jesus. Yeah, Jason used to ring up with every excuse in the book. He never came. I think he did one session, and after that, it was either kids ill, Mrs. is ill, Mrs. gone to hospital, kids gone to hospital, emergency. He never turned up. think, Jesus, but like, it's that same old saying, and some people get away with it and other people don't.
And then we get into that playoff final winning year, and the run that the team went on, obviously after
Tony Loma.
in that second half of the season, yeah.
Yeah, Tony Loma signed. We never lost again, did we?
Yeah, it was incredible, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was 20 something games, 23 or 24 games. Tony Loma signed. I don't know if it was one of those windows or he just signed out of the blue. I can't quite remember what it was. And then we never lost. We'd win 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. And it was just like that all the time. And like if you look at the run, it was an unbelievable run. Just didn't lose. And it just kept going and going. And obviously that propelled us all the way up. And the confidence that gave us coming through, because unlike now, John used to chop and change the side quite a lot. So I think the away game at Mansfield, me and Des Walker were in the stands because we weren't playing at all. We weren't in the 16, 17 man squad or whatever it was at the time. And we're looking down, and like all players, you're just slagging everybody else off because you want to be down there. So me and him are like flipping like, we're not getting this side and stuff like that. And I think Phil Robinson burst through and got an equaliser to make it 1-1. And then come the home leg, John Duncan just changed it around completely again. And I was playing, Des was playing. And I think we ended up winning that one. Was it 4-2? And then played at Wembley.
Yeah.
So
it's funny really because the semi-final in some ways is remembered more than the final in some ways.
Well, yeah. Well, the semi-final game was my favourite game at Saltgate, hands down. The atmosphere, beating Mansfield as we did, and just the overall game as it was, because it was to and froing a little bit because they had a decent team, to be fair, and we'd worked on marking Paul Holland at corners. He was the main man at corners, so our captain had him. Nicky Lowe had him at corners. First corner, boom, Paul, he scores. And we just looked at Nicky and just walked off. Because you couldn't really say out to Nicky. He just ended up. Sorry?
I can imagine.
Oh yeah, he was just effing in Jeffer, and then lo and behold, he comes and scores 2 goals later on in the game, and I think if you saw one of the tackles, I think Darren Carr did a tackle on their centre forward. I don't even know how he got up. I think he took him at the knee. Seriously, I used to cringe when I used to see Darren tackle, I swear to God. And I don't know how I did it. I don't even know how I stayed on the pitch, to be fair. But
did you ever get that in training?
Sorry?
Did you ever get that in training on you?
Oh yeah, you just knew it was coming. He just pulled out. I ain't getting tackled. I want to play on Saturday, so I just stay out of that. I couldn't tackle anyway. I was rubbish. So I could tackle with my elbows. That was it.
Morris, lovely little flick. Here's Loma, sharp, so sharp. Wonderful goal, Tony Loma. That's why Tony Loma has become a hero and a very quick favourite with the Chesterfield fans.
Oh, and a real skirmish here with Andy Morris and Mark Peters. Was booked in the first half. He's off as well. Mansfield down to 9 men, and they've really lost their cool now, and they may have lost their chance of going to Wembley as well. He's a superb goalkeeper, but he's been beaten again by Nicky Lowe, and can you believe it? Nicky Lowe, the defender, the captain, the goal scorer.
And then that game at Wembley then. So did Did the defeat against Cambridge kind of help you out when it came to playing there for a second time? You knew it a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I suppose so. We've been there before. We knew what the ground was like. Most of us, like Phil Robinson's, he'd played at Wembley a few times with other teams, and so yeah, it was. But like I said, we had a really, really strong team that year. We had a team of winners, and we had a team of tough, experienced players and tough ballers in that team. And but they were a good team. They're a decent team, and obviously we were fortunate to win, because I'm not too sure they had any more chances than what we did. We had the better chances, and I think come near the end of the game, I don't know how many times Kevin missed. He must have missed at least 3 in the last 10 minutes, and that. So just by screwing his shots and overrunning it, or having a bad touch and stuff like that. But yeah, you kind of like knew what was going off, and you knew how the game was going to flow. And we had a long throw thing, which we got the first goal from. I think it was we got actually it was 2 goals from 2 long throws actually.
I think they're both long throws.
Yeah, there was one came through. Actually, it won't be allowed now because I think it hit my hand. So went up for an header and it hit the back of my hand, and then it just killed the ball. And I think that was that Tony Loma goal.
That might be his, yeah. I mean, he says it was like the worst game he ever played in.
Well, yeah, it probably was. It probably was. And then the next one, I think Nicky threw one in, went up for an header, and it cleared both me and the centre half. And I always thought to myself, right, if I can't get an head on it, he's not going to get an head on it. So it's going to stay in the box kind of thing. So that happened. Then I think it bounced over one head, and Phil Robinson just came in and headed it into the corner. That was 2-0. And obviously, if you remember what Chesterfield football team was like them days, nobody was going to come back from us from 2-0 up. So, like I said, we're just a strong team. We knew how to see games out. We knew how to do a mid block with the team, even though at that time nobody had ever heard of a mid block and stuff like that. But we could do it as a team and as a squad, and we defended from the front, and just made it very, very hard for them, and came out of that with a good win, and the celebration was a lot better than the one when we lost 2 years before.
I'd say I bet the ride home was a lot better.
Oh yeah, it was pretty special. Like I said, the one before, I think we had a function room, and seriously, it was like a morgue. If it wasn't for John Ryan just having a bit of a laugh and a giggle, I don't think anybody would have enjoyed themselves that day. It was horrendous, horrendous. So I understand why people never book anything until they've actually won something, because doing it when you've lost is just it's not great really.
Then there's obviously a little bit of time between playoff win and FA Cup run, but not many people have that many memories of the time in between the playoff final win and the cup run. Are there any games that stick out for you in between those 2 events kind of happening?
In between those 2 events, ooh,
I've asked a few players now, and they're like, I don't remember.
Yeah, to be honest, remember going at Brad a few times. That was a good fun. God,
I think around that time as well, maybe you played less games as well in that 95-96 season.
Yeah, I think I was probably injured. I'd probably done my cartilage, and I think I was out for 18 months at one point. So I was out for a long time, and I don't know if that's coincided with that, but that would have been around about the times when I was having lots of knee operations.
Does that still affect you? Kind of.
Big time. And I know I'm going to have to have a knee replacement sooner or later, but it's right now. It's just economics. It's when do you stop doing what you're doing working wise because you're not on thousands or hundreds of thousands of pounds a week to like take best part of 6 months off or whatever it is to have a knee up, because you're going to be incapacitated for that length of time. And then if you're self-employed like I am, where are you going to get your money from? So it's a chicken and egg scenario. What do I do first? I'm not too sure. It's hard to like say, well, I'm going to have this and then I'm going to take this time off. But how can I do it? It's a tricky one really, but I'm suffering. I think most people do suffer with their knees a little bit, but I think my left one, if I look in the mirror, it's really bowed in a bit, so I can tell that it needs an operation on it. My right one's quite straight, but it just aches. But my left one, it's got a bit of a kink in it a little bit.
Yeah. So, did that kind of worry you throughout your career when you were playing? In terms of, did you ever look that far ahead and think, oh,
no, you just enjoyed playing. It was you were playing with 11 mates, stroke 15, 16 in a squad, and you're just a big kid. You just enjoyed playing football, and football changed throughout the 90s. It turned from being fun into a business. And when it turned into a business, it just wasn't fun anymore. And you weren't compensated anyway for that anyway. You just in it because you just loved playing football. It was just a great game to play, and I didn't look that far ahead. If you say would you if you felt like I do now, which is in agony most days, would you do that time again? I'd say yeah, in a heartbeat. Do it in a heartbeat, because it was a great 11 years as a pro and 13 years as a pro and 2 years as an apprentice. But wouldn't change it for the world. It's been great. I just wish, like I said, I've got my coaching badges now. It's just at that time you just can't afford them. So there's like lower league players, pretty much like myself, who would want to do the badges, but it's that same old story. The only people that can afford to do the badges are the people that can afford to do it.
Yeah.
So you're talking Championship and Premier League players who it's a drop in the ocean for £3.5 grand just to shut that out. Whereas a person who plays in League One or League Two or the old third or fourth division going to find that sort of money, especially them days. Going to find that sort of money, so it's tricky now. And now I've got it. It's like, well, what do I do with it? It's my time's kind of like passed me by, so to speak, with regards to coaching and managing and whatever stuff like that. So it's a tricky one, really. So I think there should be more scope with regards to lower league players who want to go into that field. There should be more grants, really. Not just for the betting community, but for everybody that wants to do it.
Yeah, because I've spoken to quite a few kind of ex-players now, and it's the same story kind of over and over again. You know, when you retire either through, I mean, some people get to retire on their own terms, which is great, but most don't. You know, and then a lot of players find themselves lost for a few years while they're deciding how they can do what they want to do and just getting a paycheck in the meantime. It's not, when you look at it from that kind of angle, it's not particularly glamorous, is it?
No, it's not. It's and that's how you got to look at it. It's not glamorous. It's just the way it was at that time. It's I say how do I describe it? Because people just see footballers as like earning thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds and being that every footballer's rich, and it's far from it. It's a glamorous job with very little hours work, but the stuff that you put your body through in the space of, I'd say, 10 years, what somebody else has put their whole lifetime through their body. So all our aches and pains, I'm probably feeling what a 70, 80-year-old would be feeling right now with the aches and pains in my body, because of the miles I've put in my legs through that. So in that way, it's not glamorous, and you're not getting the money for that to compensate for that, because I wasn't in the Premiership or Championship, and some people might just say, well, you weren't there because you weren't good enough, and that's probably true as well. But at the same scope, it's still for the length of career you have, it's still quite not right, really. But,
yeah. So we should go on to FA Cup run.
Yeah.
Which obviously it's the most iconic goal celebration ever, which is yours, which is kind of this nonchalant kind of celebration in that game against Middlesbrough. Did you? I mean, do you ever at points like that imagine yourself scoring in games like that, and imagine what you're going to do?
You do imagine it, but you never think it's going to happen. But you imagine also. I imagine myself winning the lottery, but you don't think it's going to actually happen. Yeah. So that team chopped and changed all season, because we had quite a strong squad. So chopped and changed all season, and I think Viv Anderson must have came to about 4 or 5 games, I think, of ours before we actually played, and I think his report was, he's got enough to worry about. They're not that great and stuff like that. And then, but John was holding all the big hitters back, and then as soon as it came to the game, everybody was fit. We knew his game plan. We knew what we wanted to do. We knew what we were good at. We knew what we weren't good at. And I think we just caught them off guard. And but you only can catch it. I think you only can catch a Premier League team off guard once. I think, which we found out in the second leg. And but also Ellery, he bottled it twice. He should have sent Clayton Blackmore off. Second bookable. He didn't do that. And that one when the ball, obviously it went over the line, but at that time nobody knew what was going off, and I'm thinking, well, ball's in the box, nobody blew anything. I'm gonna see if I can knock it in, and then Fester jumps on my back, and it gives them the free kick. The linesman's already gone to the halfway line, given the goal. So there's like lots of little things you think, Jesus, it just transpires against you, because that would have like put us 3-1 up, 20 minutes to go. They've got 10 men, which should have been 9 men. And you just think to yourself, I'll tell you what can you do? The gods are against you. Everything's against you here.
Yeah. And it was a good little rounding of the keeper as well, to be brought down for the, for the penalty.
Well, I got through and I thought to myself, I've got to be sure of this. If I just hit it and he saves it, I'm just going to make myself look a mug. So, and there's not many chances. I don't think we're going to have many chances against this team, because they had a stellar team of stars in their team. So I thought, well, I'll just try and take it round him. And then as I took it round him, he caught my legs, and I thought to myself, well, I ain't quick enough to stay on my feet and try and put it in. I'll just go down. And then obviously he gave the penalty.
Ravanelli twisting it back to Janino. Great stop by Hewitt, and Morris. Can he hold off Fester? Still Morris. This terrific play brought down. David Ellery thinks and gives Chesterfield the penalty kick. And I was talking to John Duncan an hour before the kick-off. He says we haven't got a penalty taker.
Well, they have now. He's shouting Dyche, I think. He's shouting to the captain. They're all looking at each other. Come on, who wants it, lads? They're looking around. Someone step up, put your foot through it. But this is the incident. Festa, he muscles out. Keeper goes to ground. I think the goalkeeper's unlucky, I have to say. I think the big lad earned the penalty.
Well, let me tell you, Tom Curtis scored against Forest from the penalty spot to win the 5th round tie, but he's missed 2 since then. And he's passed the responsibility to the captain.
Well, if you're not sure, lad, the only ones that can offer that, just smash it.
Sean Dyche. He smashed it all right. Chesterfield lead Middlesbrough by 2 goals to 0.
Yeah. And what's your... I mean, for Chesterfield, just getting past the first few rounds was kind of success.
It was a miracle. You don't need to say success. It was a miracle since they've not done it for like 30, 40 years or something like that. So,
what was it like as it kind of built round by round? Was it all just...
Yeah, well, that team should have gone up into... Would that have been the Championship then, or League One? That would have been the Championship, I think. We were in League One then, weren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that team, we were strong enough to go up and go straight up, and I think we sacrificed going up for the cup run, and rightly or wrongly, I'm not too sure what was right or wrong, but if we'd have carried on just playing a normal game, I think we'd have gone up that year. Maybe through the playoffs have gone, I'm not too sure, but like I say, it's well, we got through round one. Ooh, never been through round one for like 10, 15 years. I mean, what? Always lost. Then next round came along, won that one, and then it's like, well, what's going off here? Can't believe we're into round two, and then, but all these are from journalists coming through, and then I can't remember. I've got the round somewhere. And then all of a sudden you went in another round, and then before you know it, you're in, and then you're getting more spotlight on you, and then obviously Forest comes to town, and I think I don't think they got changed in the change room. They got changed on the bus, so they'd lost the game before they even went on the pitch, and to this day I still say it. It sounds weird, but that was the easiest game I've ever had in a Chesterfield shirt.
Yeah.
Not in a Forest game. The easiest game I've ever had in my life, and because they just didn't want to know. They didn't want to know, and they didn't want to fight for Stuart Pearce at the time. Just didn't want to know, and so beat them, and then obviously Kev turns up to the party at Bolton. They were on an unbelievable run. I don't think they'd lost at all in the league up until that game, and then Kev goes and stuffs an hat-trick in, and then what was it? I think I started playing. I can't remember what game I started playing, because I didn't play in the first couple of rounds, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was kind of the latter half. Yeah,
and then obviously the Wrexham at home. I still say if we would have played Wrexham away, we would have lost the game. Still say that, because we always found it tricky at Wrexham, and they were a strong team at home. With their grounds at Hart, the dog hole. They were quite strong at home, and with the game being at our place, I think it made it easy. And two League One, I think it was at that time, teams playing against each other. It was a big incentive for one of us to get to the semi-final, which fortunately enough, Chris Beaumont sorted that out for us. So, but like I say, it was just little things, knowing what people are going to do, because the ball came out and I just hooked it on, and Chris Beaumont was straight on it, instinctively on it, because he knew what people were going to do in the game, and he was on it like lightning. Well, done about lightning, but he was on it pretty quick. And then puts that one in, sends us to the semi-final.
Yeah, and it's like what, 25th anniversary next year. So
yeah,
time flies.
Another get together.
How much do you look back on it, kind of with those decisions in the semi-final? And
the only decisions I look back on are the referees' decisions. That's because I don't think there's anything else we could have done, and it's just down to the referees. I think referees, they say we don't want the referee to spoil the game. Referees don't spoil the game. Players spoil the game, and then referees spoil it after the decisions they don't make. So if me and you were playing against each other and I actually take you out, it's not my fault that you've already got that we've already got another player sent off. If I need to get sent off, you send me off. But it's like, well, they've already got players sent off already, and no, you shouldn't think like that. Shouldn't think, and that's what I think he did. I think they've already had him. Kindig already got sent off. Blackmore, if you watch the game again, he did another bookable offence. He should have got sent off for that. And then there's like he never consulted the linesman, and the linesman gave the goal. And then this decision where Fester jumps on my back while the ball's in the box, and then gives a free kick to them. That should have been either another penalty at least. And he just thinks himself. So it's not anything any of the team did, because I think the team, for the ability that team had, we weren't Premier League players, and some of us were in the waiting, I'm guessing, obviously. But as a squad, we weren't Premier League squad. But we that team overachieved big time.
Yeah.
And I think the referee decisions let that team down.
And there's no way we'd have let a goal in after like 30 seconds in the final, like Middlesbrough.
No. We were in Jamaica. We were fortunate that Norton Lee took us to Jamaica, and so it was like 9 o'clock in the morning when that game came on, and I think maybe 2 people might have watched it in the squad. We just looked at it on TV and just went, got a drink, and then just walked out somewhere and went to the pool or went to the beach. And we couldn't like I say, now we were conceded a goal after 30. So we would have given more of a game. It would have been a better game, but we would have been there.
Yeah.
Because people say, I kept saying like, well, what if you lost? If you'd have lost 10-0 to Chelsea, and it goes, I don't give a damn. Would have lost 10-0 to Chelsea. I would have been FA Cup final.
Yeah. Well, last couple of questions. So, firstly, you had testimonial season, so it must be nice to have reached kind of testimonial.
It was good, but I couldn't play in the game though. Another injury struck. Yeah, I think is it Forest? Not Forest, wasn't it? Yeah, not Forest at home. But it was that sort of time where my legs were just gone, and I think I was out for a lengthy time, and it didn't really come back the same really. And injuries take the toll after a while, and you're just not the same person. And like I say, I wasn't quick anyway, so it made me even slower. So you're not going to get to those certain balls. You're not going to get to the balls in the channel. You'll do certain patterns in training. You're not going to get to that ball what goes up back, and then you knock it through. You're not going to get to those. And whereas I might have had a 60-40 chance of getting it beforehand, and now it was just like 80-20 to them. It was just never going to happen. So and so it was disappointing to have a testimonial game and not actually playing in it. So, but not many people have testimonials nowadays, do they?
Well, no, I was talking to Lee Rogers again the other day, and I was saying there's not really many players that even do 5 years now, let alone 10.
No, well, you think about it, there was that team. Lee Rogers would have had testimonial. Me, Jimmy Hewitt. Now I've got to think, because we were the 3 that got downtrodden on with regards to wages, because obviously you got people that are loyal there, like me, Jimmy, and Lee were there, and then you had other players coming in who, off the back of the success of the team, got paid what we didn't get paid, if you get my meaning. So yeah, we were, I suppose me, Jamie, and Lee were always at the back of the queue when it came to like renegotiating your wages and stuff like that. And I suppose what I'm trying to say is loyalty doesn't always work. It's not a two-way street. It's a one-way street with some clubs. And at that time, as much as Norton was great, it was tight with the purse strings when it came to like people who showed you good loyalty, and other players that come in from nowhere got, I won't say top whack, but got decent money.
Yeah, and you can get taken for granted a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're always here. They ain't going to leave. And you think to yourself, well, if I did leave, you're going to have to get somebody else who does what I do and pay him probably twice or three times as much.
Yeah.
So,
and kind of, yeah, final thoughts. So I was wondering which were the favourite forwards that you played with, because you've played with some great
I've always said it's a shame that Dave had an injury, because I thought Dave might say something different, obviously, but Dave Waller complemented the way I played really well, and that was the early days, and we had I think the goal ratio, what we did when we were both fit, was pretty decent. Obviously, Kev went on to do absolutely wonders, but Dave Waller was my perfect foil for the way I played.
Yeah, and yeah, so a couple of Wembley trips, FA Cup semi-final, the Anfield appearances, stuff like that. Is there any that stick kind of top of the tree for you, or is it all?
Like I said earlier, the Mansfield game, the Mansfield at home, the 4-2 game was brilliant. Obviously the hat-trick against Cardiff. It's good memories. The 4-4 at Anfield was pretty special, and then obviously playing them, they brought a stronger team. The home leg, the game at Plymouth when we beat them. Sounds weird me saying this. The game at Plymouth, we beat them 3-0 at their place, but it was one of those days where it must have snowed at least 3 or 4 foot overnight here, and we were supposed to meet at the ground at 9 o'clock, and I couldn't get out of my house off my drive until 11 o'clock, and then we got on the motorway. I think we met. Everybody's supposed to meet at the ground. We all met at different services on the way, whether it was Trowell or Woodall services. The only way I could see, which was pretty stupid of me really, is by going behind the lorry, and I couldn't have been more than 6 foot behind this lorry, because if he'd have broke, I'd have smashed into the back of him. But it's the only visibility I could see. And then as soon as we got past Nottingham, the snow seemed to have cleared, so it only seemed to be like North Yorkshire, Derbyshire. And then so obviously we're now how many hours late? 4 or 5 hours late. So we got to Plymouth. We went straight into this restaurant, chicken and beans, in, straight out, no word of a lie. We couldn't have been in the restaurant 15 minutes. We got changed on the bus on the way to Plymouth ground, and then somebody had already drove the team sheet to the ground, so it was in on time because it was a night game. There was no overnight stays in those days. It was just we left at 9 for a 7:45 kickoff on it, and then we beat them 3-0. So it just shows you sometimes all those PPPP, the preparation, it's not always the case. Sometimes it's just your mindset and your team ethos, and if you got all those in the right place, you're going to do all right.
Yeah. Did you think about having to get home afterwards? You
went I can't remember. I just remember the whole day was horrendous, and but sometimes we got like Leicester way, there was nothing. There was no snow whatsoever. But we round where I was living at the time, which was Chesterfield, like 2 foot of snow, and obviously Chesterfield's got its own bloody climate. I used to call it Salem. It's got its own climate, and there's times where Lee Rogers would leave like Doncaster, and I'd leave Sheffield, then it'd be really sunny, and we'd have a pair of shorts on, a pair of flip flops, and a flimsy t-shirt, driving to Saltergate, and we'd get to Chesterfield, and it'd be sleet, snow, rain, foot of snow, and we'd keep, what's going on here? I always call Chesterfield Salem. It's got its own climate system. It's like some black hole somewhere. The place is unbelievable. Honestly, it could be nice anywhere else. Get to Chesterfield, and it's a completely different climate.
Howard behind Blackmore. Davis! It's a goal for Morris! It's a goal for Andy Morris and Chesterfield! In the 9th minute of the second half. He won't get an easier one, but he'll never get one that'll get attention like this.
Well, they suddenly lengthen it, like they should have been doing. Howard does brilliantly against Blackmore. Look at Davis, I want it. He can't quite get there. Roberts makes it. Well, that's a great save. If ever a goalkeeper needed a bit of luck, it's there, because that's a fantastic save. But does Andy Morris care? No, he does not. Not one little bit. Won't be the best goal he's ever scored. I'll tell you what, it'll be the most memorable.